I opened my eyes, but I saw nothing. I tried to move my hands, but nothing moved. I was fixed in place, unable to do anything. And so I understood why countless intelligent beings trapped inside this box of the garden appraisers could use none of their abilities, none of their possessions from life, and instead were helplessly tortured for decades until they died. I've been swallowed. I couldn't perform any action. Right now my body was gripped tight, sealed completely for the sake of meditation. Digestive fluid was secreted. Hell, 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 this is hell. How can it hurt this much? I have come to realize the true horror of what primordial pain means. Those sentimental lines about repeating your saddest memories, triggering deep trauma, those are lukewarm, overcomplicated comforts for those in safety, people whose bodies are at ease. I envy them. True pain is born of the flesh. Pain so severe it unravels the mind. The pain of scraping away the membranes and nerves, layer by layer with a needle. Pain flooding my entire body, my twisted stomach skin, wherever my viscera even are, feels like it's on fire. It's like being trapped in an endlessly burning hell. Is it opening my mouth and pouring digestive fluid in? No, thankfully I don't have an esophagus. No, it's like my esophagus is being burned through. A sound rang in my head. The seeker's voice, reciting the pain I felt, my torment, my analysis, my begging, my screaming, exactly as they were. And then my own thoughts screamed in my mind.
I don't want to die. I want to die. I don't want to die. Stop. Stop. Why, how did it come to this? It hurts. It hurts, Holmes. It hurts. Name him, I did something worthwhile. It hurts. Save me. Kill me. Save me. Kill me.
Breath is choking off. I can't bear the pain. I know instinctively. There's no way I can endure this for decades. I think it's lucky I was the one to enter, but even guessing how long I could keep thinking that chills me. There's no mental fog, no dulling of the senses. This kind of supernatural disaster. Two other intelligent voices. The voices of others, being tortured right beside me, reverberating together. This mutual exhibition of torment was the completion of the box-seated seeker. Like this, we would remain helpless in digestive fluid, joined as parts of the seeker, enduring decades of agony within the maddening whispers born from each other's pain. The digestive fluid served as a kind of preservative, preventing us from dying, keeping our minds clear to feel the pain. Madness, terror. But pain so insane it didn't even allow escape into madness. Happy maker. I missed that item, absent from my hands now, with a rabid craving. But I endure. I tried to let smoke rise. No, I turned my whole self into smoke, because smoke was my component. I could do it without moving. The smoke filled tight. The seeker's pouch that sealed me in like a womb. Even in smoke form, the pain didn't recede. Everywhere I touched burned with a death cry of agony. But there was one difference. Smoke is gas. From inside the smoke, I reconstituted just one part of my body, my horn, and I barely shook it. The bell hanging from my horn rang out clear. Ha! The pain didn't fade, but my ability to think, my will, returned. A thing to do. Something I could do. I knew there was another human pressed right against this pouch that bound me immobile, slowly. For the first time, I was glad I couldn't find my vocal cords to cry aloud this time. From near the surface of the smoke, I exposed a patch of skin. From under my uniform, my tattoo inventory. I tried to shove the very membrane sealing me into the tattoo space, but it didn't work. Every attempt only made the pouch tighter, its volume shrinking in proportion to whatever I stored inside. Even in smoke form, my body was overloading. No go. And instead, like lubricating oil, only more digestive fluid oozed out. Pain, pain. Even turning to black smoke doesn't end the pain. If anything, it intensifies. No physical resistance worked. In the box, the victim was an organ inside the seeker's stomach, unable to harm the seeker in any way. But I still took every bit of the physical pain. Such an unreasonable, hellish ghost story. No, stop. The digestive fluid. This is death, or rather, pain like dying. Never in Bakelmong. Never even on the Tamna-bound train have I felt pain like this. And then Agent Poto? Impossible. Why is it Agent Poto and not an evildoer? I guessed being pushed was because of resentment toward the Bureau. No, the pain's too much for the reason to matter. No. You're telling me this person will also be here for decades feeling this pain? The Seeker displayed mental pain, too. Agent Chongdong's mental pain, and mine as well. I am used to pain I can endure. I am used to pain. It's slightly better because I can take another form. Ringing the bell inside the smoke. No, it hurts. Hurts. No, can't stand. In that instant, I get it. Thoughts tied to the pain are heard by the other. Pain linked. Pain linked. Agent Xiongdong realized it. And the Seeker's whispered display of his pain changed faster, more erratic, as if reflecting his state. I am in pain, so if I can partially turn into smoke, if that lets me move even slightly, then I will use the 5-colored shoelaces right now to escape this pain. Right now, I can't stand it anymore. Just tie the shoelaces and walk. Walking alone is enough to fulfill the condition. Hurry, and I remembered again. Agent Chongdong can't leave even if he has shoelaces. Just like in Lucky Mart, when both his legs were gone and he couldn't use them. In this sealed state, he couldn't leave. Only I could get out. And once I was gone, the others remaining would stay here, on display, in pain, unable to ever leave. Along with the new one the box had swallowed in my place. I can't hear Agent Podo's voice. Did they leave? Am I the only one in this pain? Hopeful. But this pain will end with me hurling curses for having escaped alone. I turned part of my smoke back into the shape of a hand, bared the skin, and touched it to the membrane, to the box-seated seeker. A description appeared in my mind. Box-seated seeker, a power of the nameless garden praiser sect appearing in records of the Dark Seeker. Rank 6th class under the Garden Praiser Church. According to the Garden Praiser's precepts, they cut off their own legs, and after repeated asceticism and meditation inside a box, attain power and become box-dwelling creatures that secrete digestive fluid. They are garden praisers who focus on the most primordial form of suffering. After swallowing the allotted number of victims into the box, once the box is closed, it will never open until the victim dies. The victims touched by the digestive fluid inside the box become ascetics linked to the garden praiser. Erase it. I willed it erased, and the lines began to cross out. Once the box is closed, it will never open until the victim dies. And the victims touched by the digestive fluid inside the box become ascetics linked to the garden praiser. A scream. The seeker's scream. The shock of a story being erased, the pleading, the sound of praying to the Nameless One, the agony of becoming a hymn of fanaticism completed through wretched truth and painful meditation, now helplessly losing its completeness, erased, becoming a shape that is imperfect and stripped of its mystery. Could this pain, too, be the will of the Nameless One? Did you intend my suffering? If so, then accepting it would be wry. I feel sick. No, stop sympathizing. Don't agree just because you've read it. But there's no need to feel sick. Soon I won't even be able to sympathize. My head is collapsing, already collapsed, returning to something numb and unfeeling. No. The bell is ringing. It must ring. The sound of the bell, Kim Sol-yum collapses, is restored. I have to endure. Instead of erasing one more thing, just one more, only as much as I can endure. Overwriting, I wrote a new description. Box-seated seeker. A power appearing in the records of exploring darkness, belonging to the Mumyong Chanran Church. Its user is classified as a rank 6 member of the Garden Quota Praisers. In accordance with the law of the Garden Quota Praisers, they cut off their own legs, shut themselves inside a box, and after enduring long periods of torment and meditation, attain power, transforming into a living creature inside the box that secretes digestive fluids. They are Garden Quota Praisers who focus on the most primal form of suffering. After capturing the number of victims assigned to them inside the box, the sealed box will sometimes burst open from a violent shock delivered from within. I released my hand at last. Following the newly rewritten content, unable to withstand the shock of being forcibly read, erased, and altered, the box-seated seeker, a crushing pressure, and then the ascetic's release. With a strange sound, the seeker burst. The ghost story of the unopenable box, perfected by this Garden Quota Praiser through relentless suffering and meditation, collapsed, and mine did too. The reason I had barely managed to recover, my identity as a human, my humanity, my emotions, all mashed into pulp, leaving only traces behind. The sound of bells, but I could no longer hear it. But I am not sad, nor am I tormented or in great pain. That is because this is the proper attitude of a worker. I must return to Bakelmong to receive a replacement for my damaged uniform. The guiding voice announced that his uniform had been damaged, and he must return immediately and stand by. It repeated the message,
"Your uniform has been damaged. Return immediately and stand by."
The next moment, I spilled out of the box, along with 2 other figures. Outside the burst box, Agent Chongdong slowly regained awareness. He realized, at some point, that the pain had disappeared, because pain beyond the threshold leaves behind a phantom ache, as if still there even after it is gone. The realization came to him late. He also realized he could no longer hear the voices in his head, neither his own pain, nor the pain of others. He pushed against the mucous membrane of digestive fluid surrounding him, now stripped of the strange power it once held. The dead seeker's membrane no longer exercised the unreasonable sealing authority, and so, with the membrane giving way beneath his pressure, he tore it open with a small pocket knife and was able to come outside. Air. The moment he inhaled, he became aware of 2 other lumps of membrane beside him. He immediately drove his pocket knife into the one next to him. After a desperate process of dismantling, what emerged was a man with the appearance of a handsome boy in a school uniform. Someone he did not know. Realizing this must be the cult member who had been swallowed by the box earlier, Changdong quickly moved his hand to the next membrane. A larger mass this time. Having regained a little more reason, his hands dismantled it with care. From within the hastily removed membrane emerged an employee in full black uniform, covered in countless horns, wearing a gas mask. Agent Podo. Or rather what seemed to be a supernatural phenomenon of Agent Podo.
Agent Podo.
But there was no response. Had they lost consciousness? It was hard to be sure since the gas mask remained on. But he guessed as much because the yellow lamp-like glow of their eyes was no longer visible. Changdong carefully lifted Agent Podo by the shoulder. Still there was no reaction. Only, from among the mass of horns on their head, something like a shattered piece of jade fell out. Changdong caught it and stored it away for now. Anything else worth doing? It was hard to think clearly. Truthfully, his mind was still fogged. What was it I heard? The voice of the seeker that had endlessly whispered the pain of ascetics into his mind had, just before the end, said something strange. Something bizarre and terrible, and yet concerning truth.
Erg.
Agent Changdong frowned and pressed his brow. It was never a good sign to listen too closely to the whispers of a supernatural calamity, or to dwell on their meaning. Contamination. But right now, there was something more urgent to handle. Agent Podo's place of residence and also Agent Choi. With a jolt like cold water pouring over him, he sprang to his feet. Looking around properly at last, he saw the same space that had existed before being swallowed by the box. The box now open, its bloody hands hanging limply over the edge, without a number carved in and no one. In the desolate underground bunker, there was no trace of human presence. Instead, the bunker's door had been completely ripped away, and from outside came a tremendous roar. But the agent recognized the familiar sound. Bells. This is the sound of a ritual guillotine coming down. Agent Chongdong grabbed Agent Podo and bolted outside. Outside the underground bunker of the Mumyong Chanran Church, the deserted Jisan village was already half destroyed. Likewise, the moment he burst out of the shattered underground bunker doors, Ryu Jaegwon nearly bit his tongue at the sight before him. And then,
"Oh, you're out."
a voice spoke right next to him. Leaning casually against the doorway was Lee Songhai, deputy of Baekilmong Corporation's elite team. She turned toward him and waved. Ryu Jaegwon, about to speak, hesitated for a moment. How could she be this nonchalant? Two people had just escaped from a bizarre supernatural disaster that had imprisoned them for decades, trapping its victims inside and slowly digesting them alive. It had been certain death. He'd heard it emphasized over and over. Once the box closed, it never opened again. Even he, having come out, was still confused as to how this was possible.
Why?
You're not surprised? Well, you went in there with the employee, didn't you?
She looked at the Agent Grape in Ryu Jaegwon's hands. Light reflected in Lee Songhai's pupils.
Because the mascot is stronger than that box.
Mascot. Even the unfamiliar title carried something strange about it, and Ryu Jaegwon, hearing that word applied to Kim Solium, instinctively looked down at him and asked himself. That sound from earlier. There had been something violently mechanically twisting the box-seated seeker as it spat out its eerie words. That Agent Grape?
Anyway, are you looking for your fellow agent?
He shook off the strange thoughts.
Yes.
Drawing in a breath, Agent Chongdong forced his focus back to the situation. So then what about Agent Choi's whereabouts?
They're all over there.
Boom. Just then, another deafening crash echoed out. Ryu Jaegwon snapped his head toward the sound. A pair of massive gleaming guillotine blades were whirling in the air, gripped in human arms and moving with manic vigor. It was Agent Choi. The blades plunged toward the ground again without hesitation, aimed at their target. That!
I think they might be angry.
As Ryu Jaegwon started to run, Lee Songhai's voice reached his ear again.
At first, that agent seemed to be trying to figure out how to open the box again. Maybe trying to find some kind of weak point.
Ryu Jaegwon could picture it easily. Someone staring at the box in disbelief, then forcing themselves to think, to act, to dismantle the closed box no matter what it took. He'd seen many agents like that, people who'd somehow regained their composure, then taken reckless action, if it meant finding a way to get through and save someone.
They were trembling so badly, looked completely spent, so I tried to help. But that's when Director Ho started saying the nastiest things.
What a pity. And with roe deer going in too. Still, it can't be helped, can it? 2 people went inside, so this box will be safe for the next few decades. Congratulations. The Disaster Response Agency must be thrilled.
He really was awful about it, especially since he's the one who pushed them in.
Ryu Jaegwon felt his mouth twist, a mix of anger and worry.
And after hearing that, the agent stopped touching the box, then pulled something out from inside their coat.
And then,
The door broke.
boom, another crash sounded nearby. Dust blew all the way over to them. As the dust settled, a shape emerged faintly. Someone pinned to the ground, skewered through by guillotine blades.
Oh, they got him.
It was Director Ho. 2 massive ceremonial guillotine blades were buried in the suited man's chest.
I didn't want to interfere with the agent while they were angry, but I guess I should go help with the cleanup now, huh?
Ryu Jaegwon sprinted forward because he saw it. Ink was seeping up from the ground where the dust had settled, drawing letters. The letters stained red and blue, forming a circular pattern. He began to hear the sound of gongs, drums, and rattles, a ritual. And there was only one type of ritual done like this, a sacrificial rite, a procedure the Disaster Response Agency knew all too well. The offering of a powerful supernatural object in order to summon a divine being. The plan was to offer up this Bakelmong Corporation director in his entirety, call forth some godlike entity, and smash the box. Their anger and purpose were aligned, but
Agent.
Choi shouldn't be the one performing it. Agent Choi sat on the ground, eyes closed, doing something. His lips moved as if in prayer. It was definitely an incantation, and even with his eyes closed, the voice was clear, and it was a voice Ryu Jaegwon knew very well.
Agent.
Choi stopped what he was doing and turned his head. Their eyes met, and Choi's pupils widened. Surprise, suspicion, joy, relief, and a swell of emotion.
J. Agent.
Ryu Jaegwon lunged forward, grabbing him by the collar and hauling him up.
You know you're not supposed to do a sacrificial rite. If you try that without even a name to put down. Cheongdong.
Scarred hands gripped Ryu Jaegwon's shoulders tightly.
Thank you.
Choi's collar slipped from his grasp as the agent slumped back down to the ground. Seeing the way he was breathing heavily, Ryu Jaegwon understood instantly how tightly wound and mentally cornered this man had been. What it must have felt like for a senior agent to realize that every single team member, except himself, had been swallowed in an instant by a supernatural disaster, facing decades of torture before dying. His own chest tightened in response. This guy, always taking the most dangerous shots alone. Still, that heat faded quickly. At least both Agent Grape and himself had made it out unharmed. Instead, his eyes fell on the small bead hanging from Choi's belt. Someone was already inside that makeshift glass prison. The man who had introduced himself in Jizan village as a reporter, the employee with a strange name. Mr. Peregrine.
Did you put him in there on purpose? Yeah. Didn't want an unlucky civilian to get hurt, so I stashed him like this for now.
Without saying it outright, Choi hinted he'd been cooperative, then finally cracked a grin and stood up. And Ryu Jaegwon could only manage one line.
From now on, please stop doing reckless things. Ha ha.
Choi gave no reply.
My, how touching.
The supernatural disaster pinned under the 2 guillotine blades. Bakelmong Corporation's Director Ho was smiling. Not a single wince from being impaled, not a single pained groan. Instead, he calmly raised his hands and placed them on the flat surface of the blades, splitting his chest almost in 2. Even as the hiss of burning flesh filled the air, the smiling eyes didn't change. Really, you'd almost wonder if he'd been subdued at all.
Now then, will you give our company employee back? You've been holding on to him for quite a while.
Ryu Jaegwon immediately stepped back. The eyes of the nearby Agent Choi darkened. The habitual smile vanished completely as he brought a hand to his mouth, leaning over the collapsed Kim Solium, and nodding as if listening.
What's that? Grape. That's a good idea.
Then he looked at the fox plague entity skewered by the guillotines and grinned.
Grape says he's quitting.
Oh, if he says so himself, I guess there's no helping it. Why don't you wake him up, then?
Don't want to.
Blue sparks danced in Agent Choi's eyes.
Why wake up a sleeping kid? We'll take care of him just fine. So you can go rest in a cell yourself.
He glanced at his colleagues.
Right, Cheongdong?
But Ryu Jaegwon didn't answer. Agent Choi noticed the hesitation, and in that moment, relieved enough to have put off some important questions, one surfaced again. Just how had they gotten out of the box? Cheongdong. And why, when they'd both escaped the same way, was Kim Solium still lying there unconscious in the middle of this chaos?
Looks like he's not waking up. Want me to try? Shut up. Employee Therno 666, it's time to wake up and stand by for duty.
At that moment, Herdu 666 rose to his feet, black smoke. It billowed thick from beneath a black uniform, yellow lantern light flashing, a strange presence pressing heavily down on the dusty ground. The horned figure stood motionless, coat hanging limp, shadow stretching deep. Something was wrong. This is different from before. Earlier, even through the eerie, inhuman silhouette, there had been something in there. A sense in the way it moved and reacted, something that made you call it grape without hesitation. But now, it was like something forcibly packed into a human silhouette. That shiver down the spine, a field agent's inductive instinct, a supernatural phenomenon. Still the words came out.
Grape.
The smoke turned first. Slowly the black dimness pooled at its feet, caught the flare of a gas lamp, the gaze beneath the horns.
Inappropriate designation.
The entity said.
Reason informal.
Agent Choi was at a loss for words. After opening and closing his mouth a few times, he finished.
Then what should I call you?
No official designation.
It replied.
Recommendation. Registration number 13666.
You want me to call you by your number, you.
Wait.
Ryu Jagwan cut in urgently.
Agent Grape, what's your current condition? Do you still feel constant pain? Or are you still hearing strange whispers?
The smoke didn't move. The black-clad Special Division employee stood still for a few seconds, then displayed text.
Unknown.
Well now,
Director Ho's chuckle carried over.
seems like it's not quite what you were expecting.
You.
Employee 30666, since a company executive is currently restrained, would you mind pulling these out for me?
The black smoke surged toward the guillotines. Clang, the ceremonial guillotine blade was wrenched free, falling to the ground with a sharp, ringing clatter. The moment Director Ho rose, now freed, Agent Choi drew another means of restraint and tried to rush him, but the smoke blocked him.
Warning security risk behavior.
The entity intoned.
Further attempts will result in escalation of restraint measures.
Danger. The prickling on the back of the neck you only got when facing something truly dangerous.
You?
Through the smoke, his trembling eyes caught something foul.
What have you done?
Nothing at all.
Director Ho's voice was feigned sympathy.
Seems the box left an unfortunate mark. Wouldn't you agree?
Box. More like something you and your cult company did.
Who knows?
A laugh.
But here's the problem. I have no intention of answering you. So you can just stay curious forever.
Agent Choi lowered his guillotine, looking at the being that had once been his co-worker.
One thing's for sure.
The blade pointed through the smoke at the foul presence. The Black Tortoise One-Team agent made the declaration.
Bakelmong Corporation's Director Ho Yuan is a supernatural disaster.
An agent of the Disaster Response Agency, and the one his guillotine now pointed to, Ho Yuan, a supernatural disaster.
As soon as we return to headquarters, I'll file the report. Black Tortoise One Team intends to seek formal registration of this supernatural disaster for termination.
Agent Choi's gaze locked with Ho Yuan's. Between their frozen expressions, the agent's eyes burned.
Let's see how far that lunatic cult company of yours is willing to go to keep saving an executive once the Disaster Response Agency has their name on record.
And then,
So you want to register me as a supernatural disaster and have the agency manage me directly until I die? Until I'm terminated?
beyond the black smoke stood something foul. It spoke in a smooth voice.
A government agent threatening a civilian. It's not like I killed anyone in front of you, sir.
But Ho Yuan's eyes were calm, almost flat.
Someone was going to die anyway. Does it stop being death if the agency is the one to choose who it is? Does it suddenly become rational? While you've been busy deciding who's the more acceptable person to kill. Did you really think someone like me wouldn't come out of that process?
Ryu Jaguan ground his teeth at that moment.
So you just kill whoever then? We were just talking about how if someone's going to die anyway, we shouldn't kill good people, but you went ahead and killed someone without even asking the rest of us, didn't you, Director?
Brushing dust off herself as she approached was Deputy Lee Songhai. Ho Yuan's smile deepened.
Sounds like you're saying it's bad to not cooperate with the group. That's worrying. You're part of a company, and yet you think it's fine to refuse to cooperate with your superior and make personal criticisms?
Why? I didn't attack you. And that's a weird way to put it. I just said you did something bad.
Looking genuinely puzzled, Lee glanced at the director, then hopped lightly over to stand beside the employee.
And I'm on vacation, so it's fine if I'm not working.
Wow, brave of you.
Yep, I guess I am a little like that.
Well, suppose it doesn't matter.
Weighing the nuisance, Ho Yuan finally turned away from the irritating employee, toward 130,666.
Employee, will you continue accompanying me for my project as work?
And then, with a small add-on.
Those people keep interfering with my duties. I'd like you to restrain them for security purposes.
The agent's expressions hardened. Under the shadow, the yellow lantern turned toward them, then looked back at the director. Refusal. The employee's response appeared in a series of status notifications. Existing assignment. Mumyong Chanran Church exploration complete. Damaged uniform. Will report to assigned researcher after return to isolation room. Uniform. In that moment, they noticed it. From inside the coat, through a tear in the fabric, something was seeping out, something formless. Clumped, fleshy matter bulging and spilling outward as if it had lost all shape. 130,666 pressed a gloved hand over it and covered it in black mist, almost as though aware of their eyes. Some even caught a faint signal in that gesture, something like embarrassment. Agent Choi's gaze changed. Hope.
That uniform, we can fix it for you.
The employee's eyes met his.
Come with us. We'll get you something really nice, maybe even with running water installed. The workshop folks are incredibly skilled, I swear.
But the employee replied,
Not possible. The offer violates work regulations.
Work regulations? Can you explain a little more about what that means?
Not possible. The offer violates work regulations.
Wait, so you're saying you're not even considering changing jobs?
The gaze dropped to Lee Songai.
Resignation not possible. The offer violates work regulations.
You can't resign either? That's...
Before she could finish, the employee turned away. He was about to leave, heading back to Bakelmong's underground, to the isolation room.
Hold it!
Agent Choi rushed ahead to block the way.
I'll help you get back.
Question. What method of transportation?
You pulled me out of that box.
Right. I owe you.
Taking Ryu Jaiguan's quick assistance, Agent Choi continued.
We're near Chianan. Even with short-step technique, it'll take hours to walk to the company in Seoul, right?
Instead of his usual retort, Ryu Jaiguan simply stepped up beside him.
You don't have a car and you can't teleport. Come on, I'll take you.
Silence. And then...
Transportation method?
Agent Choi pointed.
Here. This is a secret, but this well's in a good spot. The ley lines flow through it, so back in the day the agency used it for emergency deployments to the provinces. They say they sealed it off when there was a procedural issue.
He added that because of its symbolic link to that function, they'd even used it as an escape point when the village became a supernatural disaster.
Remember? When you came for the village festival, you had that tip manual I wrote. I mentioned the well in there. Haha, what did you think reading that?
Another silence then.
Unknown.
Fair enough. Don't worry about it.
And then...
Anyway, it's not used now, but if we send the right signal, the transport function might kick in. So let's go ahead and use it.
Of course, it was a lie. There's a record, but no way it'd actually reactivate. The agency wasn't stupid. If it could still be used, they'd have moved it long ago. But it was a plausible enough story.
With that, you'll open your eyes and be in Seoul. Sounds good?
Not going to happen. The plan was to get him into the well, a fully enclosed space where escape was impossible, and then use a transport ability. A makeshift glass prison. He'd hoped not to use it unless necessary, but there was no other way.
This well won't get you handed over to the agency or anything. I swear on the goblin lamp.
An oath meant nothing. They weren't going to use the well anyway. Did he catch on? It was possible. This damn junior had an annoyingly sharp sense at moments like this. The kid really had the instincts for the job. Please. Ho Yuan's stillness was also unsettling. He should have been scheming to interfere or to take the employee himself, but he was oddly quiet and well-behaved, and the fact that Deputy Lee was following along gave him a bad feeling. But he couldn't tell her to stop. He couldn't risk tipping anyone off. Agent Choi sharpened his focus and kept walking. Behind him, Ryu Jaiguan was probably getting the makeshift glass prison ready. Thanks, Jaiguan. His junior, hopeless at lying, was rushing to prepare in order to back him up, helping him capture someone who'd just returned alive. Agent Choi kept moving. Step, step. With each footfall, the well drew closer.
Here.
Ryu Jaiguan quickly pried open the sealed top. Damp trapped air drifted out, carrying a strange smell. Agent Choi inhaled and, smiling, turned to 130,666 no Kim Solium.
It'd be hard for you to go in first, right? I'll go down ahead and show you it's safe. See? Could be other stuff in there.
The gas mask looked at him in silence. He grinned, then lowered a foot into the well. Good, the footholds are still here. They hadn't collapsed. Carefully slotting his boots into the wall crevices, he climbed down as quickly as possible, to lure him without any variables, and when his boots finally touched bottom...
Looks like it'll work. Come down.
At his call, the horned figure peered inside.
Once you're down here, I'll send the signal to activate the transport.
Please. A black boot tapped the wall, then stepped down, descending. The smoke drifted down, like pooling mist. Yet 130,666's body arrived in the well, in a way that defied physical logic, fitting for a supernatural phenomenon. A strange swell, whether nausea or something else, rose in Agent Choi's throat, but there was no time to dwell on it. Gotta pull this off. To make the act more convincing, he reached through the black smoke and set the goblin lamp down in the center of the well floor, as if he were really sending the activation signal. In truth, it was a silent signal meant for someone else, for Ryu Jaguan.
All right, so
Now, Jaguan needed to move in and help capture him, but then light burst from the goblin lamp at his feet. Wait. This is the kind of reaction you only saw when a transport signal truly activated at a nexus point. It was really going to transport. To where? And the strangeness didn't stop there. Within the black smoke of 130,666's body, something shone similar to the lamp's glow. A small rectangle inside an inner coat pocket, as if to confirm it. 130,666 took it out. It was some kind of employee ID, but not from Bakelmong. The company name read Yukwai Research Institute, and in that instant, the light grew stronger. Those watching from above also caught on immediately. Damn, Ryu Jaguan hesitated for a split second, then clenched his teeth and leapt into the well. He couldn't let only those two be transported, and trailing behind, Lee Songye leaned in.
Oh.
Sensing this was serious and wanting to help the nice people, she jumped in after them. She had the whole day free after all. It was her day off, and so, moments later, when Ho Yuan quietly approached the well and peered down, he saw this.
Ah.
The well was empty. Ho Yuan gripped the stone rim with both hands, a rush of elation in his fingers. Meanwhile, in a dark subway platform, a figure stirred. It's dark, noisy. The muscle aches, the bone deep, chill from sleeping. On a cold surface, it's making my whole body ache. I'm definitely sprawled out on some kind of concrete floor, but I'm so damn tired. My eyes are glued shut, and I can't, tired. I snapped my eyes open. The back of my neck was damp, as if I'd woken from some skin-crawling nightmare. I wiped away the cold sweat beating there and let out a shaky breath. Wait, that voice. I just made a sound. And my hands, bare hands, with nails, knuckles, fingerprints, ordinary human hands, I ran them over myself, hair, cold sweat teeth. A face. I lifted my head and looked around. Right next to me, reflected dimly in a dark pane of glass, was a silhouette.
A person.
It was me. I just stared, blank, at the human figure reflected in the glass. I couldn't make sense of what was happening. It was only a beat later that I realized. There were several familiar figures collapsed around me, and that this place was a subway platform. Pottered, I staggered to my feet. The station name, hidden behind a pillar, slid into view. Siwang Special City Ghost Story. A city that the Disaster Management Bureau had designated as an extermination-level supernatural disaster. An unprecedented case where an entire special city was erased from people's memories and sealed off, so no one could ever recognize it again. And yet, I had opened my eyes right in the middle of Siwang Special City. At Siwang Station, no less. In human form.
What the hell is this?
Sitting blankly on the dark platform floor, I instinctively reached for a conversational partner, the one being who could hold casual conversation even in the midst of madness.
Brown.
Silence. No. The dread and unease I had forced down began to creep through my mind again. If even that Brown couldn't follow me here, then just what kind of state am I in right now?
Oh, my friend is calling for me.
Huh.
Thank God. Really.
My, Roe dear. Looks like the sudden change of environment startled you quite a bit. Well, let me make it clear. Even Brown found this case somewhat perplexing. Traveling through a well of all things. How folkloric, shall we say.
Still sharp-tongued as ever.
But oh, congratulations.
Huh?
Not exactly a fine piece of shape-shifting art, but isn't this the very appearance you wished for?
That's true. I've returned to my human form, but I don't know why. Was entering Suing's special city the trigger? It still didn't feel real, leaving me dazed, but the deep relief I felt when I saw my reflection in the glass and touched my bare hands was undeniable. My outfit was a suit, a familiar office uniform. Swallowing, I ran my hands across my face a few more times, steadying my heart. It was me, the familiar me. A surge of raw emotion welled up in my chest. I took a deep breath and forced it back down. It was at that moment, just as I tried to rise to my feet, thump, my arm was grabbed. Turning my head, I saw one of the people lying unconscious on the floor had reflexively reached out at my movement, and then their eyes opened.
Podo? Agent.
Choi Agent's eyes widened. He hurriedly pushed himself up and grabbed my shoulders, turning me back and forth. I flinched as if checking for deformities, checking if anything was wrong. He even tried to raise his goblin lantern but froze when he realized it wasn't in his hand, left it in the well. But he didn't stop there. He pulled out his contamination-detecting divining rod, desperate to determine my condition. Feeling a little uneasy, I asked.
Do I look fine?
Choi Agent gripped my shoulders tightly.
You're fine, Podo.
I held my breath.
Wait, did that well have some kind of restorative function? No, huh?
His face twisted with confusion, suspicion, and joy all at once. The sight of a teammate who had been revealed as a spy being restored, and Choi rejoicing in it as though it were his own blessing, filled me with both gratitude and guilt. But that didn't last long. The situation itself didn't allow it.
So where the hell are we? Looks like we've been sent to another city, a subway maybe. Let's see.
Suwung Transit Authority, Suwung Station. The faint smile Choi Agent had worn to feign composure vanished from his face. Suwung.
Ever heard of it?
No.
Neither the city nor the station name existed in daily life, which meant he realized it too, naturally. We were inside a supernatural phenomenon.
Podo, wake the others now.
Choi Agent and I immediately crouched down and began rousing the unconscious. Chongdong Agent, who nearly slapped his own cheek when he saw me until I hastily stopped him. Deputy Lee Songhae, who woke up with a serene, almost unsettling smile. And last, Deputy Yunhaje.
He was supposed to be locked in.
I heard Choi mutter under his breath. Had the deputy been confined in a makeshift glass cell? If that confinement had been undone by our relocation here, this was serious indeed. I moved to wake him myself.
Wait, Ro, dear.
Deputy.
I quickly leaned in as Eunhai rose.
Are you connected to Director Ho right now?
Hold on.
Sensing the grave mood, he checked the orb in his hand, and his eyes sharpened.
No, doesn't work.
That didn't feel good. No, actually, it was better. I'd have an excuse to blur the source of my information.
Everyone.
Looking around at the awakened, I spoke quickly.
I believe this is the place Director Ho Yuan was searching for.
What?
I pointed at the sign, Suwong Station.
This entire city, Suwong Special City, is the extermination level disaster he sought.
Deputy Lee Sunghai raised his hand.
In Baekilmong terms, does that make it abyss level?
The classification system's different, but it could be.
Ooh.
But only Lee Seonghai was impressed. The others' faces were grim. Only Deputy Eunhaje, perhaps already partially aware through his work on Ho's project, calmly scanned the surroundings with narrowed eyes.
Ro, dear, then could your return to human form also be due to this darkness's influence?
Possibly.
I think that's likely. Look at this.
Eunhaje raised his hand. The hand that had vanished in Hangman was whole again.
Deputy, your hand?
Yes, it's back.
He gave a wry smile and waved, though he didn't look very pleased.
There's clearly some condition at work here, but it feels too good. Is this really the highest grade of darkness? If so, shouldn't it be an unendurable cesspit no human could withstand?
That was.
All I know is that some horrific incident struck Suwong Special City, causing the entire city to be sealed. The Disaster Management Bureau erased its very existence.
Wait.
Both agents' faces stiffened.
The Bureau did what?
Yes.
I swallowed and forced my voice to stay calm as I laid out what I knew.
As I heard it, the situation grew so uncontrollable that they ultimately imposed a kind of binding curse. So no one could recognize Suwong Special City at all.
Ooh, that's even possible. It is possible, technically.
Chongdong Agent's mouth opened. Choi Agent gripped his head.
Phew.
Clearly the two of them were already narrowing it down to one of several specific rituals that could achieve such a thing.
As far as I know, there are no records of it ever being done. Of course,
Right.
if they really did it, they would have wiped the agent's memories afterward. Anyway, Rodir, keep explaining.
Yes.
I continued.
And the reason our environment seems better than expected, even in such a terrifying situation, may be because we're in a subway station.
I pointed toward the platform's glass screen door, the same one where I had seen my reflection earlier.
Would you look at that?
Beyond the darkness. A subway layout where two platforms face each other across the tracks. From here you could see the tracks of our line, the tracks of the opposite line, and the facing platform beyond. In that place it was all collapsed, shattered, exposing twisted steel beams. From the broken stairway, concrete poured down in rubble. The contrast with this intact platform was jarring. And on the glass screen doors of that ruined platform, "Help us. SOS. Please, Mom, I love you." They were covered in countless words. Messages of rescue and dying confessions, scrawled in blood, dust, and filth. Scrawled from the other side, the letters appeared backward. The sheer weight of catastrophe that had engulfed this city froze my body. And I remembered. The document describing the process by which Siwong Special City was sealed as an extermination-level disaster, Day 1. Most residents fled into the subway stations, but with the entrances collapsed, they were all trapped inside. Horrors are occurring outside, but the precise situation at the site cannot be confirmed. They said, if it's the subway, we can probably last a few more days. So search operation should begin immediately. One of the last places that sent out rescue signals from Siwong was the subway stations, meaning the subway had a higher chance of being relatively safe. It wasn't clear if this was specifically Suwong Station, but still, better than suddenly being dropped into the heart of an extermination-level disaster with nothing. Not that it made much difference. Phew!
So in other words...
Wait.
Agent?
Okay.
Choi Agent, who had been sighing, was suddenly at the platform doors, calmly trying to force them open.
Agent?
Just a quick look around.
Oh, should we check the other side?
Hold it. Just wait a moment.
Both of you, please.
As I said, this entire city has been annihilated and sealed as an extermination-level disaster.
I rushed forward to block them.
People clearly fled down here, but heading into the half-collapsed side might be dangerous. It could be connected to the outside.
Most likely, Choi and Lee Seonggai's idea was this. If we've got no intel, we at least need to do something. But...
And if it comes to that, I'll go. I know this place better than anyone.
Podo?
Choi Agent reached out his hand, and then smack, he flicked his finger against my forehead. Ow!
Podo, do I look like some kind of suicidal thrill-seeker to you? Of course, I was only going to check carefully and come straight back.
Though Choi Agent was smiling, he looked thoroughly pissed off. But as he drew in a breath, it all resolved back into relief.
You're the one who shouldn't be making rash moves here, please. Seriously.
And you too, Jae-gang.
Honestly, compared to me or Chongdong Agent, you're the one who acts more rashly, sir.
Ahem.
I dodged Choi Agent's flick just in time and hurriedly backed away. I shot Chongdong Agent a look of sympathy, but he only gave me a face full of unspoken complaints.
Once we've moved somewhere safe, I'd like to have a talk.
Spare me. Suppressing a sigh, I rubbed my forehead. Been a while since I felt that sting.
Well, since everyone here's experienced, let's move together and check our conditions as we go.
Yes, yes.
And so we decided to take stock of everything in this relatively safe-feeling platform before heading up the stairs. While everyone was checking their bodies.
Sir.
It was Deputy Lee Seonghai who spoke up, but...
Sir? Should I call you Deputy Roe Deer instead?
No, just Roe Deer is fine.
Then don't call me Deputy either, just call me Dolphin Roe Deernim.
With a bright grin, Deputy Lee Sungay pulled a few things from his coat. Small glow-in-the-dark star stickers, a tube of effervescent vitamins, and what looked like a tail comb. He checked them one by one.
A few of my gear and items aren't working.
Same here. Seems like any item that draws power from elsewhere is dead.
Ooh, nice deduction, Deputy.
Everyone was checking their gear like pros, and then...
Roe Deernim, do you have any items?
No, I'm broke. My items, I'd handed them all over to Section Chief Lee Jaehyun to liquidate. Oh, but you have my merchandise, my friend. Right, I've still got this. Not the real good buddy, just a knockoff. Damn it. Just tuck me into your breast pocket. Ah, perfect. I carefully took out the rabbit doll and slipped it into my suit's front pocket, as Brown requested. For some reason, Deputy Lee Songhai gave me a big thumbs up. Thanks. I wonder how Section Chief Lee Jaehyun is doing. Come to think of it, since I was back in human form, maybe I could access the VIP personal shopping in the Interstellar Mall again. I had the VIP cell mounted under my tongue, after all. Unless that too counts as power borrowed from elsewhere, in which case it won't work. Anyway, in the middle of an extermination-level disaster with a bare-handed five-man party, that was out of the question. Pass for now. Suppressing another sigh, started patting my pockets like the others out of sheer habit. Huh? I had my smartphone. I quickly pulled it out, a black rectangle with a grip talk attached. The very same one I'd carried back when I worked at Bakelmong. What the hell? In a rush, I powered it on. To my shock, it lit up. No signal. No Wi-Fi. But the most important thing appeared. Darkness Exploration Records. The wiki page was still accessible, just like before.
Oh, my phone doesn't get reception either.
Yes. Same here.
Nearly had a heart attack. I answered Deputy Lee Seonghai as casually as I could, thumb hovering to switch off the screen when it struck me. He can't see it?
Could you read this page for me?
After a moment of hesitation, I held the phone out, showing only the words Darkness Exploration Records. But he tilted his head.
There's nothing there? If you want my impression, it looks a bit plain for a home screen.
Thank you.
He couldn't see it, so only I can read it. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt my ears. I don't know why, but this'll make checking things a lot easier. Forcing calm, I pretended to inspect the phone further. And then I noticed something else. The grip talk. The crack is gone, finally restored, and the X mark that used to sit in the center was no longer gold. It was now finished in red. What did that mean? And where had this Griptok-mounted phone been all this time? You really don't know, dear.
Let's try a little deduction. A place unknown to you and yet always with you.
Ah, no way. A chilling guess pieced itself together in my mind, inside my body. The Griptok had been fused into my melted form, stuck with me inside the uniform. I had been merged with it all along. If so, then that bizarre editing function I had been able to use, did it originate here? My head throbbed with the shock, fear that my body might melt again, and the effort of remembering what state I'd even been in before. A vibration sounded from my phone. I snapped out of my thoughts and reflexively looked. A newly registered page appeared, Soong subway map. The Darkness Exploration Records wiki had updated. Familiar, yes, but impossible. The wiki was built from my memory. This couldn't happen. Dazed, I tapped it. Soong subway map. A strange feeling came over me. Is this the new function of the restored Griptok? Over those 6 months as a melted Braille staffer, what exactly had this Griptok been completed into?
Is everyone done checking? Let's move.
Yes, sir.
I left the blank page as it was and began moving with the others. Stay cautious. Being human again was wonderful, but the loss of the abilities I'd wielded before still stung. That, too, was human nature. The 5 of us, veterans all, made no noise and no sudden moves. We advanced slowly, securing visibility as we climbed the platform stairs. Only the measured vibrations of our footsteps echoed. And as we reached the top of the stairwell, a forest spread out before us. A vast, mist-laden forest shrouded in gloom. The subway's structures, hydrants, tactile paving, escalators, signboards, mirrors, and lit ceilings remained in place, but they were strangely enormous, repeating like a labyrinth. Between them, trees, earth, and fog had filled every gap. So dark, so foggy, visibility was almost zero.
Wait!
Choi agent sniffed lightly at the mist, frowning.
No toxins, it seems, but cover your breathing anyway. If anything feels off, we fall back to the platform immediately.
Yes, sir.
To check the information boards first. Supernatural disasters with domains tend to have structured rules, like ghost stories. Good. Who wants to volunteer as the vanguard? Everyone's so eager. You're all recruit material, seriously.
With this many veterans loaded with defensive gear, that's what happens. So we all advanced together in search of an information board. Stepping between the trees, dry leaves crackled beneath our feet. Somewhere a mournful sound echoed, and before long we found not a guideboard, but a massive sign.
Ah.
It was a station name board wrapped in vines and branches along the wall, similar to what we'd seen on the platform, but with a difference.
They even display ads here.
Ads?
Yeah. You know how in real subways they sell naming rights? Put a hospital or a company name next to the station for revenue.
That's right. Usually it was just advertising, but the inscription here read, Suwon Transit Authority, Suwon Station, Forest of Death's End. Everyone sensed it instantly. This was no normal sponsored name. At that moment my phone vibrated. The wiki had updated. Suwon subway map, Suwon Station. I clicked without breathing. Suwon Station, Forest of Death's End. A subway station of Suwon Special City, known as the Forest of Hanging Trees. On the day of disaster, an estimated 7,000 evacuees fled here, making it a central refuge. The Forest of Hanging Trees? The moment I read that far, something brushed against my head. I raised my gaze. I had been careful not to brush too close to the trees, but distracted by the phone, I'd leaned against something dangling, and slowly I realized what I'd touched, what I had thought was a branch, a human foot.
Poto, hold on.
Oh, there's a corpse. Right above your head, Rodirnim.
It hit me. Those alternating thin and thick trees weren't trees at all. Every thick trunk held a body hanging from its branches, skeletal and swaying.
Every single one is a corpse. They all hanged themselves.
And I realized something else. That being human again also meant regaining the ability to feel terror. That I was a coward again. I'm screwed.
Shall we scout the area around us? Good idea. Rodir, check the one above you. Oh, barefoot.
Yes.
Oh God, oh God. The corpse's bluish, swollen feet dangled right above my head. Though the body was dried out, the feet looked strangely bloated, as if swollen. Sway. They brushed against my cheek.
Rodir?
Yes.
Damn it. I wanted to clamp my eyes shut, my whole body shriveling in revulsion, but I couldn't. If anyone here could cry and say they can't handle this, that would be incredible in its own way. Could I really be the only one losing it, when everyone else acted calm, unafraid, unfazed? It's not like this is my first day on an exploration in the dark. Besides, wasn't this a catastrophe-class disaster? I have to at least do my part. Something. Anything.
I'll check it.
I clenched my teeth and reached out, suppressing the urge to cling to someone's leg and beg them to let me sit out. And then I examined the body that had brushed against my head. The fact that I had to touch this thing made me want to faint. Remembering how I had once sat calmly right next to a corpse with its eyes gouged out during incident 130,666 made me feel even more likely to pass out. But my head kept working, cold. At least nothing happened when I touched it. No ominous contamination, no suicidal impulses, no strange hallucinations.
Just a corpse, it seems.
Yes.
But there were far too many of them. I caught a fleeting grimace on Agent Choi's face as he tried to peer into the fog.
It's not working. The talisman has no effect at all. But one thing's certain. You can't see the end of it with the naked eye. The trees with bodies hanging from them.
The dead did not discriminate between men and women, young and old. Countless bodies filled this forest, unease mingled with fear on everyone's faces.
Are they really actual dead people?
One of the agents asked.
There's a chance it's some kind of staged effect.
Agent Dong replied.
But if a real disaster struck this city, it's far more likely they're real.
Another agent chuckled.
Our Dong is being awfully honest with the civilian.
It's fine. Well, they're already dead. What else can we do? Our job is to make sure we don't end up like that, right?
Suppressing the nausea, rising from sheer scale, I forced my steps forward. The clothes on most of the corpses were coated in years of dust. Some useful detail.
Could you examine the hands? If they're real corpses, maybe there'll be clues about the circumstances of death. I was already looking, Poto. Heave-ho.
And then we found something. The hand of a corpse in glasses, wearing a checkered shirt.
A little smudged, but there's something here.
Words written in pen on the palm. No one is coming to save us. 7,000 were abandoned. We want to escape, but there is no way out, so instead we become trees. The dried ink left everything to imagination, so they realized no rescue would come. The phones cut off, trapped inside a collapsing station without food, without escape, while some unspeakable disaster raged outside, making any hope of rescue impossible, and so...
Well, at least they chose a quiet method. Instead of killing each other, they all died together. Right?
Could be they were influenced by the darkness? Or maybe this very peculiarity became the seed for the darkness.
The calm exchange between Bakelmong's staff contrasted with the disaster response agent's stiff expressions, but like veterans, they soon regained composure.
Now that we've understood the background, let's look for the information board.
Yes.
After some hesitation, not wanting to stir trouble, we left the bodies hanging as they were and moved on. Sometime later, by smartphone clock, about 17 minutes.
Found it.
An information board appeared. A typical public institution board. Clean blue letters framed in black and yellow stripes, dampened by the mist. The rules of this ghost story. Etiquette of Segwang District. Forest of Final Moments.
Quite chilling. Don't you agree, old man?
Yes.
It's a standard supernatural phenomenon manual.
Listening to them, I inferred something from the rules.
The style divides the content.
The presence or absence of periods at the end of sentences showed a pattern.
They split between forest and subway station.
The station-related ones read like information, the forest ones like commands.
Maybe there really was a forest nearby that merged with the station?
Or the fact that there was a forest nearby influenced the station's identity. Darkness always responds to human perception, after all.
Deputy Yunhush tapped lightly on the board. Thump. A corpse that had been hanging behind the board slid down and stopped in front of me. I nearly cursed.
Oh dear, Poto must be terrified.
Deputy Yunhage said, but then he snorted.
Come on. Do you think Roe Deer would be scared of something like this? He even went into that slaughter talk show place. Isn't that right?
I forced a smile at the deputy.
Of course. That was part of the persona I built while infiltrating the agency.
Still the same reliable worker, huh?
Thank you.
If only it were true right now, I wanted to tell the truth. But look at the situation. 4 veterans deep inside a catastrophe-class disaster. If I admit I'm scared, it'll look like I'm some parasite trying to freeload in a group project. And meanwhile, someone else had latched onto the talk show remark.
Good heavens.
A voice transmitted in my head.
Did they just refer to Brown's midnight talk show by such a crude name? Honestly, the public's hunger for cheap thrills has gone too far.
Another voice added.
Why someone with sensitivities like yours, Roe Deer, would stay friends with such a person is beyond me, but I'll respect your judgment, friend.
Yeah, thanks. That actually made it a little less scary. I glanced at Agent Choi. He smiled knowingly.
Oh, so Poto's actually a cold, fearless type, huh?
No, that's not what I said at all.
Got it. Okay then. From now on, Poto.
He suddenly whipped his head aside. Why?
Down.
Instinctively, I shoved the person next to me down and lowered my own head. Whoosh! Something. A taut, whistling sound brushed over my head with an eerie sensation. Flattening myself against the floor, I strained my ears. I noticed. The shoulder I'd been holding was gone. When I lifted my head, I was alone, the trees and fog, escalators and station signs. Amid the countless hanged bodies, I stood alone. I didn't scream or call out, just stiffly forced myself to walk, 1 step, 2 steps. Faster and faster, the need to find the others building momentum alongside fear. But at the same time, I wasn't a fool. This was a supernatural phenomenon. I used a corpse as a landmark, careful not to stray too far. Turning my head, something appeared, a long shape, protruding from a tree, motionless. I approached, a rope old and frayed, twisted tightly into a loop dangling at my eye level, a noose. I slowly backed away. The noose that had hung suspended faded back into the fog. No time to sigh with relief, I turned my head and kept walking. This time, a silhouette in the mist again. Hoping for another person, I hurried forward and found another noose. Somehow, the hanged bodies seemed more numerous now, clearer. Shirts, tracksuits, dresses, suits, blouses, jumpers, all kinds of clothing on all kinds of people, swaying as silhouettes in the fog. Voices, news reports. In Segwang Special City's forest, another body has been discovered. Mr. Shin, in his 30s, is presumed to have taken his own life. This marks the 7th body found this year in forest. Authorities have closed the connecting subway tunnel and begun posting notices. I kept moving, avoiding clusters of corpses, searching for clearer paths, but again another noose, prepared as if waiting for the one left alone. Forest, notorious as a suicide spot in Segwang Special City. Pictures of the hanged spreading on social media have only fueled the controversy. Experts express concern over copycat suicides spurred by the attention, saying, "You want to give up too, don't you?" I realized something. How did that many people all manage to hang themselves? Even suicide takes preparation. If 7,000 all hanged, they needed that many ropes, cords, something. Something that could hold a person's weight so. What if this forest was already full of ropes? You want to give up too, don't you? What if it was the forest itself providing the nooses for quiet deaths? This place had been prepared to hang 7,000 lives, as people believed it to be. Even if I turned and ran, the nooses returned, the looped ropes.
A fated development,
A voice in my head said. Another voice followed.
It calls Rodeer toward the ending like a black box with arms open wide, don't you think?
Of all metaphors, really. I gritted my teeth. Don't think about it. Don't remember how I was back then, or what state I ended up in afterward, more importantly. How did I originally handle this? I had survived ghost stories before, even without incident, 130,666's condition. There had to be something I could do, even in human form. It's a catastrophe-class disaster, yes, but that's outside. Here, maybe there was more of a way forward. Stay calm, calm. You want to give up too, don't you? Don't touch the nooses. Damn it. I grabbed my own hands, forcing them down, eyes fixed on the floor to avoid the hanging corpses. Because here, the forest and the station are divided. Right, the station fixtures haven't changed, the information board, the walls, they were intact. Only the trees were strangely many, the fog dense and the nooses endless. So there had to be a symbol of a place with no trees, no fog. The stairs, the platform. I dashed past the nooses, racing through my memory of subway fixtures, ceiling lights, mirrors, signs, escalators, braille tiles, fire extinguishers, until there I found the stairs and rushed down. And then,
Rodeer.
A hand gripped my shoulder. I was at the bottom of the platform stairs. Deputy Yunhaj's face, slick with cold sweat. The others too had just come through, panting hard, each one clutching something different. They used items to break out. Relief washed over me. I exhaled, wiping sweat from my brow, then realized my hand was heavier than it should be. I was holding a corpse. That shoulder I had shoved earlier had been a hanging corpse, shit, and I'd been staring at the noose that appeared once the body disappeared. Ha! The realization sent goosebumps rushing down my back. I couldn't throw it away. Trembling, I gently set it down. On the clean platform floor, the bluish, bloated, dried-out body landed with a dull thud. The lingering sensation made the hair on my nape stand on end.
Are you all right?
Agent Chongdong hurried over, scanning me with the still-functioning equipment. No sign of possession, no trance-like symptoms. He stepped back with a bit of relief.
The fog thickened so much we couldn't see anyone. We just shouted to each other until we found the stairs. The items kept failing, gave us trouble. But then,
When they got to the stairs, I was missing.
there was talk of going back out to search. Thank goodness.
Thank you, at least I found the stairs in time.
Still, looks like the company really does value veteran hires. Everyone made it out safe.
Limp smiles were exchanged.
At least we learned something. The longer you stay in that forest, the thicker the fog, and the more you get lured by the corpses, right?
Seems so.
I shared in detail what I'd seen, the empty nooses. They all fell silent.
This is why I hate expeditions without manuals. Everything's a landmine.
Bit troublesome, yeah.
Government officers, any tricks up your sleeves? This reeks of restless ghosts, a classic haunted site vibe.
Oh, you nailed it. The whole foggy forest gave off a corrupt aura, what we usually call shy energy.
Agent Choi rubbed his chin.
But I can't tell if it's from the forest itself or from the sheer number of deaths.
If it's one or the other, could you purify it?
Our eyes met.
It's possible.
Agent Choi smiled thinly through cold sweat.
With the right materials.
But the reality was...
Right now we've only got, 3 bullets on Chongdong? And all designed for great ghosts, not phenomena like this.
Yes, and even then...
Chongdong pressed his brow.
It would require invoking the power of an allied spirit from the agency.
Exactly. Some supernatural beings help a general, an elder would be needed. But in Segwang Special City, any outside-sourced items or equipment were dead. In other words, hopeless. Damn it. And then I realized something else. Thirst. I'm thirsty. The others likely felt it too. Without food or water, how long could we last? Still, I was grateful. Grateful no one had died yet. Grateful we had the platform as an escape. First, we need to deal with that body. I opened my mouth. I turned the platform speakers. A melody played unfamiliar, but its purpose clear.
The subway? Jingle?
The train is arriving. Whoosh. If not for screen doors, the gust would have knocked us back. From the tunnel, lights blazed as a train rushed toward us at terrifying speed, the windows casting beams across the platform before it roared past. An announcement. This train will pass through without stopping, as there are no passengers. The roar faded into silence. We stared after the lights retreating beyond the screen doors, and then...
People.
I met the other's eyes.
There were people inside that train.
And so one more option appeared. Pursue the train along the track.